That's the Queen of Soul. It's coincidental, it really is. Focusing on Juneteenth and some amazing musicians. The personal stash will reflect that shortly after the 9 a.m. hour. During the 9 a.m. hour, we've got the mayor, Alex Renagi, stepping in for a conversation. And then right after that, we'll pump up the personal stash. This morning, we've been talking about it for a couple of days. A very important conversation. By the way, 8:01. Welcome to the Mornings with Ed show on the all-new Voice of Laguna. We've been talking about this for a while, trying to put this together. An important conversation with, and I realize I've been butchering her name for the last couple of days, Natalie Basmaciyan. Did I get that right, Natalie?
Basmaciyan.
Basmaciyan. I've just been absolutely butchering your name, and I apologize for that. Natalie is the Homeless Services Manager for the city of Newport Beach. Welcome, Natalie. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm great.
Good. I'm great until I heard you say my name, Ed. My God. Well, it's great to have you here. I appreciate you coming up early. Is this a good time for you? Are you a morning person?
I am not a morning person. I'm here for you, Ed.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I am here for you. So if you wouldn't mind explaining to our audience what exactly a homeless service manager does for the city of Newport Beach.
Sure. Thank you, Ed. I'm pleased to be here, and I'd like to explain what we do in the city of Newport Beach. So I'm the Homeless Services Manager. I've been in this role just about 5+ years. I work out of the city manager's office, and I manage the contracts related to homeless services. We have a contract with an agency called PATH, People Assisting the Homeless, and they do our street outreach work and connect people to shelters and social services. So I manage that contract. And we also have a very robust partnership with the city of Costa Mesa. I can go more in depth on that if you'd like.
And we will.
So we have 25 beds at the Costa Mesa Bridge Shelter.
Okay.
So I manage who's in the beds, how long they've been there, are they working their program. We have the flexibility to go up to 31 beds at the Costa Mesa Bridge Shelter, but I really try to focus on having our 25 per our contract with the city of Costa Mesa. Additionally, I also work very closely with our police department. We have 4 designated homeless liaison police officers. They're fully sworn, full uniform, everything,
Right.
but they're specially trained to deal with our people experiencing homelessness.
Okay.
So I'm in that realm as well.
So the this organization PATH.
Yes.
Around how many go out into the streets of Newport Beach, and what are their qualifications generally?
Yes. So we have 2 full-time outreach workers, plus a full-time supervisor, and then a program manager above those 3.
Okay.
They are in the city 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Those hours reflect the social services hours if they need to take people to Social Security, to enroll them in benefits, general relief. So on the weekends, we really rely on the homeless liaison police officers to make connections and relationships. But during the week, it's PATH that's doing that frontline work for us.
Okay. And since you've been in 5 years ago, I'm curious as to the difference of the numbers that you're seeing. Since the Grant Pass decision, which allowed the breaking up of encampments, I'm imagining you see more numbers. What percentage of growth in the numbers of the homeless that you're seeing in the last 5 years?
We've actually seen a reduction.
Okay.
Part of that is some of the actions our city council has taken.
Okay.
2 years ago, August, we passed a no tent or unpermitted structure ordinance.
Right.
So we went from having about 15 tents in the city to 0 because now our police can enforce, please do not put up a tent. And then last October 2024, we passed a no sleeping, no camping ordinance because of the Grants Pass decision that was approved at the Supreme Court. So now if somebody is literally crashed out sleeping, we can take progressive action. Please wake up.
Right.
Please don't do that. Let's ticket you. Let's arrest you. But again, our police are very aware that this is a progressive action and not an ultimatum.
Right.
If somebody complies, I didn't realize it, I just fell asleep, they'll move on.
Right.
But with that, we have seen a reduction in the numbers. Our last point in time count, we had 72 people identified in the city. We did a census with PATH, which is an unannounced, unscheduled for the public count, and we had 11 people in November of 2024. So a month after that new ordinance, we had 11 people versus 72.
Okay. And I think the question for a lot of the listeners is empathy.
Absolutely.
First, what percentage of those that you're seeing are mentally ill, and how do you separate their needs from the chronic homeless or the drug addicted?
Yes. So we would say about 50% have some kind of mental illness. It might not be as severe as schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, but if you think about it, keeping somebody on the streets is not compassionate. That can create anxiety, uncertainty, and escalate somebody's mental illness.
Someone living in their own filth is not empathetic.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes. So as far as the drugs, we don't see a lot of drug use. It might be somebody, as we say, self-medicating, trying to manage their situation. We have county resources if we need to employ them. But on our day-to-day population, people are pretty much chill and just trying to get through the day, and we're trying to guide them to services and shelter beds and a better way of living. But again, that's a First Amendment right. I can't tell somebody you shall go to the shelter. They have rights and free will and decision-making skills that we're trying to negotiate with them.
Right. And I think that in a lot of cases, that's what frustrates the general population, those that aren't homeless, is there are cases where, and I'll go back 100 years, where they used to come by with the trucks and throw you in the truck, and you would go get services.
Correct.
You would end up in a facility of some kind. Orange County has recently been acting to improve mental health services through leveraging the Mental Health Services Act and the money received from that. Is there something the state should be doing more of to help counties and cities?
We are really relying on the new care court to see if that is an option for people. We have not really had any traction with care court in terms of the city of Newport Beach. As far as,
and if I may, why do you think that is?
The definition of who qualifies is schizophrenic or not. And there is no other leeway for any other diagnosed mental illness.
That's a narrow window.
That's a very narrow window. And we're also one of 8 counties in the state that has that option. It's just very difficult to convince somebody. It's still a voluntary program. So you're taking somebody with schizophrenia and telling them to go do this thing, and they've got a voice in their head saying, don't do this thing.
Right. And therein is the flip of the coin.
Correct.
All right. Here, and I want to come back. I want to circle back to that here in a little bit. But here in Laguna Beach, we have the ASL facility, which has become really more of a regional facility since surrounding communities, Aliso and San Clemente, and a lot in Laguna Hills. A lot of these surrounding communities, we receive the homeless and the mentally ill from those communities because they don't have something like that. Should all coastal cities provide sleep and shower locations so that Laguna Beach and maybe even Newport Beach and Costa Mesa don't get overwhelmed?
That would be wonderful, because we do have to decide and discern who is ready to have our services. So we're in the central service planning area for Newport Beach. We're one of 11 cities in the central area. Laguna Beach is in the south service planning area. In the central spa service planning area, we have access to a county shelter, the Yale Navigation Center. When we're doing outreach and having these conversations, if somebody doesn't have strong Newport Beach or Costa Mesa ties, we can get them into the Yale Navigation Center. In South County, it's different because you only have the alternative sleeping location. So anybody south of Laguna is trying to access that one facility.
Right. And what kind of partnership do you have with the sheriffs in particular of the county?
You know, we do interact with the sheriffs in specific properties in Newport Beach. There are some jurisdictional issues, like they have the contract for the Newport Transportation Center. They have the contract for parts of West Newport, but on a day-to-day basis, it's the Newport Beach Police Department that is covering the majority of the city.
And those are the ones with the trained liaison
Absolutely,
officers.
yes.
And we have out here Be Well. and I know you're familiar with Be Well, when they initially came out for the pilot program, they were tasked in the public's perception, perhaps unfairly, with getting mentally ill off the street. You know, a lot of people in town said that's what their job was, and that's really not their function. So a two-parter with this. A, is their mission too narrow if that's not their function? And should there be a cooperative where the county provides facilities to treat and house the mentally ill and drug addicted, but each city itself is responsible for mental health experts like the liaisons and the path people to make contact and determine who needs treatment, who needs a bed, and who goes to jail?
Yes. So we're fortunate in the city of Newport Beach. We've had a partnership with the county's psychiatric emergency response team for at least 5 years.
Okay.
We have a designated person that's in the city with the police twice a week. She can write mental health holds, what's known as a 5150 hold.
Right.
She can recommend people go for psychiatric treatment. But again, that's 2 days a week
Right.
in a city of 86,000 people. As far as forcing somebody into treatment, we come back to that issue of a right to choose.
Right.
So we are trying to route people. We're trying to catch them on a good day when they can have that thoughtful conversation. As our original homeless liaison officer trained me, his name was Tony Yim, you need to know what a good day is so you can respond to a bad day. And if we can have more good days and have those conversations and build in those services, we're going to do the greater good. But if you're only reacting when somebody's having, they're screaming at the moon and everything is bad, they're not going to bring their energy level down to have that conversation.
Right. How often do you hit the wall with people like that?
I don't hit the wall with people like that.
Okay.
Our philosophy is very similar to the city of Costa Mesa. We try again. We never give up on people. If you give up on the people, then we shouldn't be doing this work. I hit the wall mostly when people think that this is a very cookie cutter way to handle a problem.
Right.
I will explain it and explain it and explain it, but it's the people that are in need that really need our compassion and our patience and our follow through.
Okay. Has Newport Beach made any attempts, or are they making attempts for housing?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes. So again, I'll touch on our Costa Mesa Bridge Shelter partnership. Once people get to the shelter, it's a 180-day program to housing. That could be a room for rent, reunification with family, finding a roommate who's at the shelter and getting an apartment together. It could be getting on the wait list for permanent supportive housing. There are so many options at that point. It could be assisted living, skilled nursing facilities. But again, we need to get somebody teed up and ready for that conversation to move them forward. In the city of Newport Beach, we've entered another great partnership with the city of Costa Mesa. There's a state program called Project Home Key, and that is to convert motels that are blighted into housing. We have a property on Bristol Street at Red Hill, which is an old Travelodge property. That is an active construction site to turn 110 rooms into 72 units of permanent supportive housing. That means that there will be 24/7 services on site. People will sign a lease and live on site at that property. So that should be coming online in early 2026. The city of Newport Beach had $3 million designated for a permanent supportive housing project in the city of Newport Beach.
Right.
Nobody could sketch out building that.
Right.
So when Costa Mesa approached us with this proposition, we were all in. What's unique about this property is Newport Beach will have 12 designated units of housing.
Right.
Costa Mesa will have 16. And then we can have up to the rest of the 72 units. The county has never designated city-specific units before. This is the first project that has that.
Was the issue of not being able to sketch out those places, was that a not in my backyard situation?
No, it was the city is pretty much built out, and where would we put $3 million worth of units?
Okay. And in the 180 days of that buffer zone
Yes.
before finding housing, is there drug testing? And if not, should there be?
We call our shelter a low barrier shelter. You may come in intoxicated or high. just go to your bed and sleep it off. Again, we want you to be rested and ready for that conversation about what does housing look like for you. We don't drug test. If you come in and your eyes are spinning, just go to your bed.
Right.
But other shelters may do that. We don't do that. We just want you safe, sheltered, fed, with your belongings stored so you can make better decisions.
Okay. And has Newport Beach seen any additional funding from the county?
At this point, not really. We know we can leverage, the mental health resources and the social services. But at this point, no, we're not looking for county funding.
Okay. And if, in fact, either the state or the county were to provide additional funds, but make those funds state or county specific, you're on the ground. You know better than county or state regarding what Newport Beach's needs are. Would that rub against the grain of the reason you would need those funds?
No, because we do know we have people that would benefit from being certified through the Mental Health Services Act funding.
Right.
Again, at the shelter, that's part of our routine is getting people certified through MHSA so they qualify for more options. They qualify for ongoing services. Once they're moved in, they can have ongoing services. So if we could do that at the street level, that would actually get people more ready for housing.
Right.
But they do get that once they're at the shelter.
Is Cal Optima Health a partner in any of
Yes.
this? Okay, so Cal Optima Health has invested through a 5-year program, $50 million. How much of that trickles down to you?
It doesn't trickle down in terms of the dollar amount, but we are able to enroll people into Cal Optima, and that again opens up service options for them. We had a case, this poor man, he was in our city about 5 years, no health insurance, nobody would put him in assisted living. He was in rough shape, mental illness, diagnosed autism, schizophrenia. Once we got him enrolled into Cal Optima, the world opened up to him. And it was actually through a partnership with Huntington Beach and Costa Mesa, the 3 cities. We all got him into assisted living in Norwalk, California. But getting him enrolled in Cal Optima on the ground was the key to getting him placed somewhere safe with care.
Do you see a large percentage, or do you see any, and I'm sure you do, battered or abused women with kids that need a place? And if they do they go to the same places that single men, the homeless men, whether they're drug addicted or schizophrenic or not, do they go to are they all in the same facility if those needs are the same?
They are not. Our shelter is for adults 18 and over.
Okay.
We do not allow children. So if there's an adult with a child, they're not at our shelter. There's a separate family solutions collaborative, so we would connect them to that collaborative.
Okay.
And we are an access point to get people enrolled there. But no, the family shelters are operated completely differently. But to go back to what you said about battered women, we do on occasion have women that are fleeing domestic violence. They view Newport Beach as a safe place to gather their thoughts, take a deep breath, and then figure out what they're doing. When we do encounter families or women with children, we really do fast track them through SPIN OC, Serving People in Need. They're based in Costa Mesa. Down here in South County, there's Families Forward. They're operated out of South Irvine. And then up in the north, it's Family Promise. So there is a network to help families. Fortunately, in Newport Beach, we don't encounter that very often, maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay. And in an ideal situation, when you lay your head down on your pillow at night and you think, well, in 5 years, this is what I'd like to see us doing, what is that?
It's really an array of housing options. Not everybody needs a 4-bedroom, 3-story house in Corona del Mar.
Right.
You know, a nice studio apartment, maybe with a roommate. We really need to reimagine what housing is. Is it permanent supportive housing with somebody knocking on your door every day? Is it assisted living where you're not running up to an insurance barrier like, oh, you need to be out in 90 days? You know, do you need that ongoing care? But if we're just shuffling people around, we're not housing them. We really need to think about who needs what, how do we convince them that's what they need, and also having landlords that are empathetic, that say, okay, we'll take these two older women who are on a housing voucher, who don't want to bother anyone, and we'll let them live here. I do want to mention we have two women at the Costa Mesa Bridge Shelter, one from Costa Mesa, one from Newport. They signed a lease to move in together in the city of Stanton. And they are so excited. They're getting the keys tomorrow. They're moving in on Monday. But it has taken a long time to convince them to be friends, that they can cohabitate, that this is something that they can do. They don't believe they can be housed. And part of our strategy is opening up their world so they can see what's possible. But to go back to your original question, it's now they know what's possible, but do we have the housing that's appropriate for these individuals?
And I'm curious about the two women in Stanton. Once they get the keys, is there post supervision there? And
yes, so they
outreach?
are enrolled in what the county is funding called the Behavioral Health Bridge Housing Program.
Okay.
So because they were at the shelter, they were able to enroll in BHBH,
Right.
Bridge Housing. So that includes move-in costs and ongoing social services in-home. So again, going back to the beginning, if we can get somebody to the shelter, all of these services and options open up to them.
Okay.
But if they're on the street and they don't believe us, we're not doing our jobs well.
Right. And I'm going to circle back to one of the first questions of our conversation, and that is the difference between the mentally ill who specifically need mental health help and those that are chronically homeless and drug addicted or alcohol addicted, and the funding for each of those. In an ideal situation, those would be separate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because not everybody needs every high level of care.
Right.
Maybe they need a 90-day detox program. They don't need ongoing services. Right. So it's really identifying what that person needs and then finding where they can go.
Okay. And you, as a homeless services manager for the city of Newport Beach, would you like to expand that role and maybe have more of a voice in what the county or even the state is doing?
That would be interesting. Yeah, we have very good relations with the county's Office of Care Coordination.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily want to leave my city. I love Newport Beach.
Of course.
But
from your desk to
Yes.
have more influence.
That would be an option, yes.
Okay. All right. I can't thank you enough for coming in today. Have I left anything off the table that we should know about?
Well, I would like to mention, we have a big Don't Give to Panhandlers campaign in the city of Newport Beach.
Okay.
I know people are compassionate. They don't think we're doing enough. If you're just giving out food and money and sleeping equipment and camping equipment, you're actually keeping that person from accepting services. You sound like you're being compassionate, but you're actually keeping that person on the streets. We like to reimagine things that might meet a need right now, but it's not a long-term strategy. Who's going to want to fill out my silly paperwork when they're getting a free meal at Ruby's?
Right.
So
Right.
really think about, is that helping that person, or can you route them to our team who has the expertise, skill, and access to make a difference?
Oh, that's fascinating. How did you lay that campaign out? How is that campaign flowing?
We put up signs throughout the city about 5 years ago. We also have what we call our Good Giving campaign.
Right.
That explains this might feel like a feel-good short-term solution, but the long-term solution really takes this work and effort to make a difference in that person's life. So we have handouts. It's on our website. It's posted on sign poles in the city. But it's, when you think about somebody wants to put together a backpack with toiletries,
Right.
that's not the same as verifying homelessness, getting, a birth certificate.
Right.
That hard work is what our team is doing behind the scenes.
Allow me to use Main Beach directly across the street as an example. And these people who do this, their intentions are wonderful.
Absolutely.
And I get it.
Yes.
However, on a Saturday morning, you'll see them passing out food and, like you said, toiletries and all of that stuff. Should they be cited for that?
I don't think they should be cited. That's human kindness at its best.
Right.
But we've also had people that have dropped off puppies and kittens to give companionship. Well, now that person has a puppy or kitten to care for.
Huge responsibility. Huge responsibility.
And they're barely taking care of themselves.
Okay.
So, no, I don't think people should be cited. I think they should be educated.
Okay. Natalie Basmaciyan. Yeah.
Basmaciyan.
Basmaciyan. Oh, I almost got it. Thank you so very much. She is the Homeless Services Manager in Newport Beach. If someone needs your assistance, how do they reach you?
They may call my office number at 949-718-1991. They may also find our contact information, our path resources, and our police at newportbeachca.gov.
I can't thank you enough for coming in. A very important conversation, and I'll look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Natalie. 8:27 the time. It's the Mornings with Ed show on the all-new Voice of Laguna.